If you want to save money on your trading card purchases, we have a promo link over at 50cards.shop. Enter the promo code ATNIGHT to get 5% off your order. Hey everybody, welcome to Nexus at Night, your weekly Vanguard podcast. I'm Atlas.
I'm Matt.
I'm Root Beer.
And today we are doing a set review of DBT09 Dragontree Invasion.
Why is it Bruce on the front, though?
I don't know. Hopefully it's good. Maybe it's a grade 5 of Bruce.
Very cool.
That would be cool. So to people who haven't seen our set reviews before or heard them, we go through all of the cards from the highest rarity all the way down to the double Rs and any other commons or rares that interest us, and we make fun of it along the way, which we will do
sometimes.
A lot. Yeah.
For some reason, sets with a 9 in them are cursed or something.
Divine Dragon Caper. We were around for that. That was not a good
People
thing.
got really mad at us for that set.
Because it was the set Luard, Drag Driver Luard first.
Yeah, but Drag Driver sucks ass.
Yeah, it's like calls
was the best card in that set Plotmaker? No, it was Ezra's.
Yeah. Was that also the set where we had 5 people on it, or was that just when we were talking about
no, we had 5. We had 5 people. That's what had Jose, Gabe, us 3.
Yeah. That was a weird time.
It was a nightmare.
Yeah, this show has gone through some. It's like going through puberty over and over.
I think after that episode, we decided that also 5 people is way too many.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so why don't we kick this off here? Dragon Empire. Here we go.
All right. We have Sealed Blaze Dragon Kanshati. So it's a grade 2, 10k. When it's placed on rearguard circle from hand, if you have a Vanguard with Bob Sagra in its name, Soul Blast 1, discard a card, search your deck or drop zone for an arms card, put it in your hand, and if you search your deck, shuffle. Then it has an act on rearguard circle once per turn, counterblast 1, put an arms card from Vanguard into Soul, draw a card, and then it gets 5k.
You play Bob Sagra, what do you think?
Does it ever feel like Bushiroad just puts costs on a card to put costs on them?
So I don't really mind the first effect having a Soul Blast.
Yeah.
But I do mind the second effect having a Counterblast. Because you're already counterblasting to put the arm down, generally. Or paying some cost to put the arm down. And then this is like, yeah, you can throw away your arm for a card in 5k, but also we want to counterblast from you.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
There's a card Eugene has where it's like on play, put a card from hand into Soul, draw a card, and retire something.
Yeah. Counterblast also is kind of a needed resource.
Yeah.
Like, this card technically does like everything I want. Or that I think the deck needs, right? Like, Bob Sagra does not have a ton of ways to dig through the deck. You have like the spear, and that's about it in terms of good cards you actually play.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm not a huge fan of it, like, having a Soul Blast into this card for the first skill, like, either, because you do actually need Soul a lot for the retire and the crit. And then, like, because the deck does not have a lot of ways of plussing to the hand, I feel like you could probably just search the arms card without this many costs, and it would probably be fine.
Yeah. I think what Bushi is thinking is they're like, well, Trick Moon countercharges when you call it from drop. That's enough, right? You're like...
Only if it's placed in the center circle.
Yep. And also doesn't get called that often. Like, it's... Yeah. Get what, twice a game? 3 times a game, maybe?
And then, like, the draw effect is very slow, too, because you're never going to do it on your first turn, right? When you play the first order.
Yeah, because you're trying to get the 2 live. So you have the...
Yeah. So this is just a card that technically does what Bob Sagra needs to, and you're probably going to play it, but man, is it overcosted.
You are not happy.
No.
Looks cool, though.
Sure. It's very blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's Bob Sagra's thing.
Dabba dee dabba die. What's next?
Strike Equipped Dragon Strigalio. When it's placed on rearguard circle from hand, if your Vanguard is has Nirvana in its name, discard from hand. Search your deck for one card with the Overdress ability, not crossover dress, just Overdress, or one Trick Star, and reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle. And then when it becomes an original dress, you can counterblast one and call a Trick Star from drop zone.
Because it is a prayer dragon.
It searches arcs.
Sure does.
Not bad.
Yeah. And then basically turns arcs into that like grade 1 that when it becomes an original dress, you like draw 2, discard 1, because you have to discard to find the arcs to begin with.
Yeah.
Right.
But finding arcs was, at least, I don't know if it's still as important as it once was. Probably.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Nobody plays crossover dress.
No, I mean like just as an overdress card, right?
Yeah, true.
But yeah, and being able to search like any overdress card is quite nice. I wish this card existed before.
Yeah.
It feels a little late, especially going into like Chronojet. But
I mean,
card's good.
Yeah, I guess like original Nirvana had Zemina, which can search your top 7 for a Virina.
Yeah, but just being able to like grab specifically the one you're looking for would have been quite nice.
Mm-hmm. Actually, nobody plays crossover dress.
So one of the things we're going to be riding on in this set is Bushiroad tries to pull a Chaz Princeton. Any of my Yu-Gi-Oh! GX fans out there, where they take archetypes that don't belong together, and they're like, all right, we're going to
Chaz it up.
Chaz it up. And
what? You're telling me Arm Dragon Ojama is not a viable deck strategy?
Arm Dragon Ojama XYZ.
Am I reading all of the cards that say have this word in it?
Let's see. What was the next one?
Oh, yeah, the first Dragontree card.
Yeah.
Is this me?
This is still me. This is still a
Dragon
Empire card.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just the tree itself.
Sure,
That's the only one you gotta worry about. Yeah.
Gotcha.
The Dragontree Drakel Bactical.
Close enough.
So it's a grade 1 8K. When it's placed on rearguard circle, you counterblast 1, put a Dragontree marker on a circle without 1. And then when your opponent's rearguard is retired during your main phase, you can Soul Blast 1, look at top 5, choose up to 1 grade 1 unit card from among them, call it, and shuffle.
It's not too bad.
Also, like, the Dragontree marker is like half of a force marker, so if you have a Vanguard with Dragontree or Masks, which is something that has not been elaborated on yet, oh boy, then all units on the circle get 5k.
All units on the circle. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they could mean by that.
Yes, and whatever the heck a mask is.
Sure.
Jim Carrey in 1994.
Alrighty.
All right.
So the next card is Ala Magistar Astroa Unica. Just, sure. So this is the Dark States Grade 3, the new one. It has, when a trigger unit is Soul Blast, this costs this unit's ability. You can choose one of your units, give it 5k. And then when it attacks, you can Soul Blast 3, bind all critical triggers Soul Blast for this cost, and perform the following based on the number of crits in your triggers in your bind zone. 1 or more, you retire a rearguard. 2 or more, it gets crit +1. 3 or more, it gets drive +1. Now, wrong me if I'm wrong, crits are still limited in standard to 8?
Yes. That is correct.
This card's buns, right?
Kind of, yeah.
It's better than Majesty Lord Blaster.
Sure, low bar.
One thing about this that is nice is that it counts the total no matter what. It's not like you had to have bound 3 crits every single time. It just checks the bind zone after.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? So like if you did it the first time, the next time you do it, it's still online.
So the goal is to shove 2 crits in soul as fast as possible?
Yeah, which will probably just happen from mass soul charging.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, how is Drive +1 beneficial in a deck that wants all of its triggers in its soul?
Well, you only want so many triggers, right? Like after that,
Yeah.
you stop caring.
Well, no, because the only way you give your rearguards power is like by soul blasting a trigger unit for the first effect.
Oh, true, yeah. So unless the units can get powerful like naturally,
yeah,
then you're going to be really tiny. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then like, mild spoiler, but a lot of the cards are just about like cycling your triggers back into your soul from the drop zone.
Oh,
boring.
So it's like yeah. Like, you have to soul blast some number of triggers, both to, like, bind the 3 crits, but also to consistently activate the plus 5k. So, like, you're just gonna run out of triggers in your deck for the drive check to matter, aren't you?
Not if you keep. Not if I guess if you have like fronts or something, you can soul blast those, and then they'll go to your graveyard because they're not bound because they're not crits.
Yeah,
and you can keep shoving those back in. I guess is what they want you to do.
I guess.
And then probably what's happening is it's just 5k to the front row. And then by that point, you're like, if you're going to be doing this for 3 attacks, Zorga? Like,
no,
Zorga is,
I would still call this Majesty Lord. Like, Majesty Lord basically does the same thing, right?
Yeah,
like,
I don't even see how this is better than Barrow.
It's not.
It is absolutely not.
Yeah.
Somebody in our Discord was like going nuts when this was first revealed, and he's like, I have custom cards out the wazoo that I want to design for this specifically. I was like, you go off, King, you cook, because this is not something that captured my imagination, and I guess it did for them. Yeah. If you want to join that Discord, patreon.com/Nexus at Night, $1 a month gets you in the Discord. But yeah, it just wasn't. This is just like everything around it better be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of everything around it, the next card is Diabolos Vehement Bruce.
Ooh, sexy. It's the cover card.
It's the purple. Yeah, it's purple Bruce this time, as everyone's calling
Bruce. Yeah.
So it has the beginning of your battle phase. If all of your units have Diabolos in their name, until end of your opponent's next turn, you final rush.
Cool.
Okay.
So it's a first ride, final rush until end of your opponent's turn. And if your opponent's Vanguard is greater than or greater, final burst, which is also final rush, but with a different name.
Yes.
It's a powered up final rush, I guess.
Okay.
So, and then it has another skill on Vanguard. When your unit attacks, if you aren't in final burst, you can counterblast 1, choose a column, stand all of your rear guards with Diabolos and their card names in that column, and they get power plus 5,000.
Okay, so this is centralizing the final rush stuff by making it xenophobic with this version of the deck.
Right.
Also, stop playing the grade 4s.
They really want you to do that.
Yes. They will invent entire new mechanics to stop making you play the grade 4s.
And they really restrict the rearguard choices by requiring Diabolos.
I think if they wanted to do that to like make you stop playing the grade 4s, they shouldn't restrict your deck building choices.
Yeah.
Can't use the girl that like lets you soul charge or whatever her name was. Although you're not soul blasting 3 every turn, so maybe you don't really need it so much.
So I will say there are actually like a lot of Diabolos cards.
That's true.
Yes.
And there are a lot of quite good ones.
Yeah, enough that your deck building isn't as restricted. Like, this feels like telling you to stop playing cards like Marjorie and Proto Bulb that have been in the deck forever. And also stop playing the grade 4, which really... It annoys me that, like, Final Burst is also Final Rush because they did not do the same thing for Crossover Address, and it is almost entirely almost certainly because of the grade 4, is my conspiracy theory, because, you know, they could block you from using grade 4 Bruce by just changing the timing of Final Rush, right? Like, having it activate in the battle phase means if you re-ride, you just lose Final Rush and you don't get to do anything.
In the main phase, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, feasibly, you just cannot play the grade 4 in this deck. You're just gonna, like, you know, riding up just kills your turn.
Yep.
But like, because Overdress as a mechanic is like functions very differently from Final Rush, they cannot do the same thing with Nirvana, and so we already alluded to it, but they're like trying to awkwardly jam like Overdress and Cross Overdress together, and it's not working because the two mechanics are different.
Yeah, at least in this case, the upside is that the cost for doing your restand is less so than having to Soul Blast 3 every time.
Soul Blast 5.
5, sorry. And then plus, you can do it going first. Or going second.
Yeah, you can do it going second, and then going first, you still have Final Rush activated, which means most of your good cards are online.
Mm-hmm. You are no longer restricted to playing what's his name that can get an on-hit retire without Final Rush. If you don't want to, that is. So, like, this has merits to it, but I don't know if it outright outclasses the original Bruce duo.
I think being faster, and then you can still make, like, 4 or 5 attacks with Julian.
Mm-hmm.
So, because, like, Julian is on attack, I think. Yeah, when it attacks, you can, like, soul charge, and then call up to the same number of cards you soul charge to an open circle, and then I think there's something that, like, on hit can like put a card into your soul, which is a Diablos card. So you could like combo your way into multiple attacks with Bruce. I'm trying to remember which one it is.
But isn't there the one that also battles the column, and then for everything it hits, you soul charge call something? Or am I thinking of something else?
You're thinking of Leonard.
Leonard.
So that the second effect needs the original Bruce though.
Gotcha. Okay, never mind then.
So yeah,
that's a
problem. I
problem.
think Leonard is like not the play. Like I think you're still focused around Julian.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is one of those things where again, everything around it better fucking pull its weight.
I think the quality of existing Diablos cards kind of pull it up.
Yeah. But like we saw with Leonard, some Diabolos cards are like, you know, the name of the original Bruce, not just Bruce.
Yeah. Right.
So because that was during set 2 when the design was completely different.
Yep. So onward and upward, I guess.
Next card is Dragontree Wretch Demon Shredder. That can't be right. I don't know what that's.
I assume it's English, right? Shredder. I don't know.
I look. Who knows? So first of all, it has one space on the rear. You can counterblast 1. Choose one of your rears without a Dragontree marker and throw a Dragontree marker on there. So same as the other one. And then on act on rear, you can, if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you can Soul Blast 2. Choose a grade 1 or less from your soul and call it to the rear in the same column as this unit. A little odd. But, it calls the thing for Soul Blast 2. But, that's 3 soul gone right there. For better or worse.
Yeah. When this was first revealed, some Pale Moon players I know got real excited. Mostly for premium, because they're like, you can use this to make a column without using Counterblast in the main phase. And I'm like, all right, cool, I guess. But
see, the solution is that it should give the thing it calls 5k.
There you go. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Most of these we don't have a lot to say because a lot of it's just like fine.
Yeah. See, that's the thing is like all of these will require the context of the Dragontree itself to elaborate on.
Yeah. Luckily, that's not. Well, it's coming up pretty quick, so
we'll get there.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Blue Deathster, Skyrender Avantgardia. We finally have a mecha ride line.
There you go. All the Dimension Police stands cry out in joy.
I mean, this isn't even Dimension Police. This is more like Nova Aesthetically, this feels more like Nova Grappler.
Don't know, don't care. I was never really on that side of the spectrum anyway.
Yeah, so Act Vanguard Circle. If your soul has Blue Deathster Sora period with an I, put a strategy card from your order zone into your soul, draw a card, it gets 5k, and red text auto. At the end of the battle, it attacked. If it hit or you persona road, counterblast 1, discard a card, stand it, and it gets drive -1.
Okay.
This is the most boring card in existence. Like, it's fine. Like, performance-wise, it's fine, but this is like the most boring card ever, right?
I love the idea of us behaving like a bored housewife in the 70s. He's like, he takes care of me, but he's so boring, you guys.
Yeah.
This card is very uninspired for sure.
Yeah, and like the one thing would be like if the strategy cards were interesting, you know, similar to like Welstra where it does nothing but activate products, but you know, as long as they make like interesting product cards, it's fine. But the strategy cards are also all boring. Let's just read them now so we can save the time later.
Sure, go for
there's the grade 3 order, shock strategy death wins. So when it's put into Soul from Order Zone and your opponent's Vanguard is 3 or greater, your Vanguard gets red text. On attack, all your front row gets 5k. That's it. That's all it does.
Oh
very cool.
Great.
Yeah. Bombing strategy dusting is the grade 2 operation. When it's put into Soul from Order Zone, give your Vanguard 10k. Your opponent can't intercept or play blitz orders. That is mildly interesting because that is the first order restrict that we have.
All right, take that, Sanctitude.
Yeah. That is like the one thing is if you see your opponent drove check Sanctitude, you can play this. And then there's Disruption Strategy Kill Shroud, which is the grade 1. Put it Soul from Order Zone, retire a rear guard, give your Vanguard 5k.
Really?
Yeah.
No 5k in a drive, no draw to nothing? All right.
Incredible.
Retire one of your opponent's rear guards and 5k, but like, yeah, that's it.
Incredible.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Like these, like this is just the most boring archetype they have ever made. Like here is a generic restander, and then you know all of the orders that could like modify its ability and make it interesting are all just generically gaining power.
They are so afraid of something getting out of control. And that's why you have, like, I'm going to say this a million times. That's why you get so many effects that are like, get 5k. You're like, all right, cool, I guess.
This reminds me very much of like Michu and Lyrical, where, you know, like the interesting aspect of the deck where you can use like orders to modify your ability ends up being really boring because the only order they make just gives you power.
Yeah, they really got to be willing to get out there, especially because orders are, as far as the game's history goes, a fairly new concept.
Yeah.
And I think that they should like, they're pretty good at it for Brandgate overall, where they're like trying different things.
Yeah.
You know,
like they've made
products,
interesting orders for like Brandgate. Like I actually think the product deck is cool. And speaking of the product deck,
right.
Operate Master Freyheights. So it's grade 2 10k. When it's placed on Rearguard Circle, if your order zone has a set order, you can counterblast 1, discard a card. Search your deck for either a card with the same name as your Vanguard or a product card. Reveal it, add it to hand, shuffle, and then if your Vanguard is Welstra or has Welstra in its name, choose one product card from your hand and put it in the order zone. And then on a and then when it attacks a Vanguard, if you have a Vanguard with Welstra, Soul Blast 2, operate a product.
This card is actually very good.
Yeah, this card is going to be expensive.
This card does literally everything.
Yes.
Yeah, it's makes the deck function.
Yes, it does.
Even outside, like Welstra's already popular because he's a boy with abs and cool robots and stuff. But aside from that, this lets you just straight search your Persona ride no matter what Brandgate deck you are.
Yep.
That's real good.
I imagine that, like, on release, if this set does well, it'll maybe like $15, $16, and you should probably buy it immediately before it becomes $30 the week after.
Yeah.
The nightmare is this card is just hell expensive.
Yeah.
Was Inlet Pulse that expensive when it first came out?
No, it was like $2.
That's right. So probably the same concept where it first comes out.
No, I don't
people
think
are
so.
like, okay,
We're past that.
We are well past that point. Like,
what people already figured out it's good, and then it's gonna just.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it's gonna. As
Like,
time goes on.
I mean, it will do that too. Like, I imagine it will take the same route as something like Combined Rusher, where it was like $8-10 on release and then immediately shot up. Like, this will probably take a similar track where I think, depending on how well Welstra does, because we're like not quite. No, this will be coming out during a tournament season, so like people will kind of need a bit of time to figure it out if like this is worth it or if Avantgardia is worthwhile, because I think Avantgardia definitely wants at least some copies of this to activate his own restand.
Okay.
So yeah, like this one card basically fixes the product deck single-handedly, and it will be very good for that. I don't know if the product deck is meta, but like week 1 results from just like Japanese local seems like it's promising. Not like the highest amount of results, that's still stuff like Eva, Chronojet, Youthberg, but you know, it has some tops here and there, and it's like more than everything else. But how much of that is just week 1 interest, and how much of that is going to be like long lasting, right?
Right.
Especially with like Chronojet on the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
I know
Well,
that
in Japan, Chronojet exists.
That's true.
But today, Bushiroad started tweeting like the Chronojet ride line is their like card of the day. I'm like, oh shit, it's coming.
It's close, yeah.
Fuck, yeah.
So yeah,
I hear the horns on the horizon.
This Prey Heights is a very neat card. Try to get it early while it's still reasonable.
TCGplayer.com or 50cards.shop, promo code at night, 5% off. I'm sick of doing this. What's the next thing?
Dragontree Wretch Royd. I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that second word.
Accusarius, I think.
Sure. I'll take your word for it.
Ballpark in it. Go for it.
Yeah. So the first skill is the same. It makes a Dragontree marker.
Yep.
And then when a set order you played from your hand is put into the order zone, you can counterblast 1. Look at the top 5, choose up to 1 unit card with a grade less than or equal to your Vanguard, call it to rearguard circle in the same column, and shuffle.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Like at all.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, just gets you a +1.
Yeah.
And then as the game goes on, you have more and more options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do have to like play it from your hand though, so any set orders that you cheat out will probably will not like trigger this. So that's one thing. But yeah, this is like pretty neato. Again, like wider discussion when we get to the tree itself.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait, that was
you
already
never closed Avantgardia or
that. There we go. Now, what the hell? Did I just do that twice? All right.
Good job.
Okay, I think it's my turn right before the.
Yeah, I dumped Keter onto you because I don't care this set.
All right, Brave on Sky Trimmer, Rondalia. So, Rondalia, grade 3, 13k. On auto or act on rear if you have a Vanguard with Bastion. So we got Bastion support. And its card name, put this unit into your soul, choose one of your Vanguards. It gets continuous. All your grade 3 rear guards get boost till end of turn. And then act in soul, you put it into your drop, choose one of your grade 3 rear guards, and it gets boost till end of turn.
They unbanned what's its face, Dark Strain Dragon, just to make another Dark Strain Dragon.
Arguably better because it's a soul, or it gives you resources by doing that.
Like it's a soul charge, and also in emergencies you can like soul blast it to give one thing boost.
Mm-hmm. But you also lose the thing, whereas Dark Strain you would just put it in a corner and just use it.
Yeah.
I don't know if like Bastion's been kind of on the fritz for a while.
Right. Also, like every Bastion card is just exactly the same.
Does it give it boost? Does it get big? Does it restand?
Actually, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one is just kind of all right. We unbanned Dark Strain. Let's give him something else to play with or whatever. Doesn't really fix anything. Night of Plowing Dull Braid. It's a grade 2, which looks freaking awesome. Love the art.
Plowing.
Yeah.
Knight of Plowing.
I am rolling right past that name.
I'm not.
Why? How is it a plowing knight exactly? It has claws.
Because it puts on some Marvin Gaye and takes you downtown. Grade 2, auto on front row rear guard. When your Vanguard is placed on Vanguard by the Revel Dress ability, choose one of your Vanguards, gets 5k. And then auto on rear, when this attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, you can Soul Blast a Revolve form in its name, and it gets plus 10k until the end of that battle.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even with Tempest, some of your numbers can be like kind of mid.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess this gets big, huge.
Yeah, and then plus those other Revolve forms, they're just in there, right?
Yeah, I guess you
Yeah.
just don't do anything with the Revolve forms after you use them, so might as well, right?
Yeah. And then I don't know, hitting for 20k on his own.
Yeah, probably like 30, 35 with Tempest.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this seems. I mean, I guess this is fine, right? Like when you have a card that just does everything already, like your rear guards can just kind of be whatever.
Yeah, for sure. So here's the Dragontree card for Cater. Dragontree Wretch Solus Sakab. Another grade 1. It's the Dragontree marker on play. Pick something without a marker, put a marker on it. Counterblast 1. And then auto in back row rear. Once per turn, when your rear guard is placed in the front row in the same column as this unit, counterblast 1, draw 1.
Note. So wait, are all the Dragontree cards just triple Rs?
Yep.
Yeah. And they're all these like generic +1s. Although the Keter one is kind of the worst because you already have to be putting something in front of it.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess they're What?
They also all have this like weird thing about just like it being in the same column.
Right. Yeah. Not the worst thing in the world. These things are like, I know they're supposed to be used with said Dragontree, but like, who cares?
Like they're designed to be generic, but obviously like also for the Dragontree.
Yeah. Let's see. Did that. All right, moving on to Stoicheia. Oh, this thing.
Here we go.
Making fun of my ass when this thing came out. Lavian Lord Grenfia. It's a grade 3. So act on Vanguard once per turn. You can Soul Blast 1. Turn all of the plant tokens on your rear guard into plant gauge and call a Noblesse Rose token to your back row center. Put all your plant gauges on that unit. I'll explain more in a bit. And then auto on Van at the end of the battle that this unit attacked, put one or more Noblesse Rose tokens or plant gauge in total of up to 5 cards in drop. Choose one of your rear guards. It gets 5k until end of turn for each card put in drop for that cost. If you put 3 or more cards, stay in that unit. So all those cards that Stoicheia got that like make plant tokens, like have something to be working towards now.
Yeah. That Roroa like never uses because Roroa just makes his own tokens.
Yep.
So I think this is kind of neat.
Would you like to explain the Noblesse token before we continue?
Okay. All right. This deserves, like, he's got his own article. It's like when you look someone up on Wikipedia and their filmography has its own Wikipedia article, you're like, all right, this better be good.
Yeah, but also like explaining the token helps discuss like the card itself too.
Yeah. So the effect is continuous on rear guard. It can't be moved to other circles, so it's just stuck in the back there. And if you have a Granfia Vanguard, all of the following are active. When your plant token would be placed, it's put as a plant gauge instead. And then this unit gets 5k for each of its gauge. It's got 5k to begin with, so 10, 15, 20, 25. And then when you would retire a rear guard for your cost, if this may be paid by retiring a plant token, you can discard a plant gauge instead. So that's part of the Noblesse token itself.
Okay, so one thing about this is people were speculating on cards like Actius Sticky, but the way this translation is worded, and I don't know if the official one is going to do the same, seems like it will only work for retiring the gauge if it specifically says to retire plant tokens.
Bummer.
Which means that I think this deck is actually a lot worse than I initially thought.
I think it is too, because I think we talked about it on Tangents, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it was first revealed, and we were like, "Oh, you can, like you were saying, use sticky or whatever."
Yeah. But yeah, the way the noblesse seems to be worded is that the card has to specifically say that it is retiring a plant token.
That's rough.
Yeah, so you don't have like a good plus engine. I found in my initial testing, I was just testing solo, so take this with a grain of salt, that this deck did not have particularly good hand, and your columns were very mediocre. You have Granfia himself is very big because of the noblesse, and whatever you restand will just take that power. But that still means you have like 2 very weak attacks and then 2 really big attacks.
So you go, yeah, like so.
Yeah.
It's like early Aqua Force, right? Where it was like 3 weak things, then your last attack was gigantic. Sort of.
Yeah. So yeah, this feels like Roroa, but like maybe actually worse. Like I thought I was gonna say like better Roroa at the beginning because like it's more consistent, right? Like my problem with Roroa is always just running out of board space, and he has solutions for that in set 8. So like Roroa gets consistently bigger numbers and has like better early offense. Like you can run a lot of the same like token making cards.
Yeah.
So like I guess like the early offense is similar, but like they both are kind of lacking in hand size. Roroa can make more attacks and I think bigger attacks, so like kind of just works out the same.
Tragic.
But also Roroa has his defensive skill, so it's like this card is like fine, but Roroa isn't that good, and I think they're probably about on the same level.
It's rather unfortunate.
It do be like that.
Yeah, I kind of wish that they had just tried and make Roroa better.
Yeah, I mean,
instead of trying to like do another plant token thing.
Like Roroa needs ways to like gain hand, which this card has not solved.
Yeah.
Like they both just kind of have the same problem.
Right. Well, luckily, the next thing that they made was not as bad. Sylvanhorn Beast Goladote. Grade 2, 10k. When your Vanguard, or from Drop Zone, auto, when your Vanguard with Magnolia and its card name is placed during your ride phase, so grade 3 or grade 4. If your soul does not have a copy of him, put this card into your soul, choose one of your Vanguards, it gets 5k till end of turn. And then auto and back row rear guard when this unit attacks. This unit gets plus 10k until end of that battle. At the end of that battle, if this unit is in the center column, retire it and draw one. It should be noted that this works freaking great with the grade 4. Because the grade 4 on ride calls something out of soul, so you can use this effect first, give your Vanguard plus 5, and then immediately pop this out in the back.
Yeah.
Swing for 25, and then turn it into a card at the end of the turn. Do it next turn.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
It's real nice. It's like the deck got its own inlet pulse.
Yeah, you got an inlet pulse, but like better because this one gets 10k.
Yeah. It doesn't give you soul though during that turn. Like it happens later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a great like one or two of in the deck, and I don't know, all my other Magnolia players out there, I'm sure you agree with me that this thing is very good, and does not involve counterblasting. So yay!
Seems quite strong.
All right, now we're getting to the Dragontree for Stoicheia. Usual thing like we said, and then act on rear if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater. Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. Choose a normal order from your drop, put it into your hand.
What?
Zorga? I don't know.
Sure. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah,
This
I mean,
just seems weird. Like, out of all of them, this is like the least generic.
why is it Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1?
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, like, see, that's the thing is like Stoicheia does have a pretty consistent running theme of like cycling cards from the drop zone. Okay, so you know what it is they already used up this idea because set 6 had Diantha, which was like on play, you can counterblast 1, call like a grade 3 or less card from drop zone.
Well,
that's true. That is funny.
You know, they should just ran it again.
Right?
These Dragontree cards sure do exist.
Yep. And this one also exists.
Oh, well, hold on. Before we get to this thing, we have a lot to talk about. So first we have to talk. So this is like a whole archetype. It's a whole thing that all revolves around this starter called Gryphicid. So Gryphicid is a grade 0. It's your starter, right? And it says it has a. So first of all, it gets power plus 2,000 for each calamity with a different card name in your soul. So it starts at 6k, then goes to 8, 10, 12 is kind of the idea.
Okay.
At the beginning of your main phase, you choose a calamity card from your ride deck. Oh, I forgot to mention an important fact. Your ride deck, if you play this card, has to have 5 cards in it.
Yes, it does.
The seed, the 3 calamities, and 1 overtrigger.
Of your choosing.
We'll get to that. we'll get to the overtrigger. Everyone calm down. All right. So you choose a calamity. So there are 3 of them. They all basically do the same thing. They're not really that important. You put it into your soul, and then if you have 3 calamities that are in your ride deck in your soul, you can soul blast all of them. You can put them into your ride deck face up and ride this grade 10 from deck or hand.
Yeah.
If it's in your hand, you get 2 Dragontree markers. If it's not in your hand, you just shuffle your deck. Okay. So that's kind of the whole thing. All the calamities basically are just like counterblast 1, search for calamity card, but who gives a shit? They're supposed to be in your deck. It's supposed to be in your ride deck. But there's like one that's like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3.
Yes.
All right. So now let's look at the Dragontree of Ecliptic Decimation Gryphagila. So first, as a continuous, during your turn, this unit gets power plus 5,000 for each Dragontree marker on your rearguard circles. If you have 3 or more, it gets critical plus 1.
Okay.
So we've seen these Dragontree markers on other cards. They basically give 5,000 to all the units on that circle. It has an auto on Van. When this unit attacks, choose one of your face-up calamity cards from your ride deck and remove it. If you did not remove a card, choose an over trigger from your ride deck, reveal it, and activate all of its trigger effects and additional effects. Remove it and stand all of your rear guards with a rear guard circle on rear guard circle with a Dragontree marker. So what this deck's supposed to do is you go 1, 2, 3, this guy. 1, 2, 3, over trigger turn. How many turns is that?
So getting to this card is just riding up normally, basically.
Right.
And then you need to go through 3. So the turn you ride up to this is the first one because you get the first calamity. Then the second turn after that, then the third turn, and then the 4th turn afterwards, you can finally activate the over trigger.
I think you misunderstand here, right? So you choose a face-up calamity card from your ride deck and remove it, right?
Yep.
So there will be 3 face-up.
Yep.
So you have to remove one.
Yes.
And so once you go through all 3 calamities after you're on the grade 10, you get the over trigger.
Yep.
And that means you're only putting 1 calamity in from the ride deck each main phase. Yep.
What over trigger do you do for this? Do you do the Brankgate one just to double everything and kill them that way, or?
Well, you have to think about deck building too, right? Because you have to play the nation that you chose.
Right, because this thing doesn't have a nation, so you're
correct.
Whatever whatever over trigger you choose, the deck then builds the rest of itself.
Yeah, this card is so you're not really getting the overtrigger to like turn 6, which is quite slow. It is a guaranteed overtrigger, but
if you can survive to turn 6, good job.
At least the 0 gets bigger each turn. It's like 8k, then 10k, then 12k, so you're not just stuck at 6k the whole time.
Yeah, but it also does not increase its grade, which means you cannot early game your opponent at all.
True.
All right, kids, I'm going to tell you about a little story about a card named Gize. And
also, I think you can't play orders that are higher grade than you, so you can't even do anything like Eclipsed Moonlight to get around this. You cannot play early.
Ding. That's true.
So then,
yeah, I'm not sure what to. So my gut is this is bad.
Yeah.
This has Persona Ride too, which cracks me up.
Well, I mean, once you get to grade 10, you can rewrite it.
Yeah, I got that, but like they should be dead after the first one.
The deck building really, I think like the way it's worded, it really makes you want to play 4 of this card because you get such a huge upside for just having it in your hand.
Yeah.
And honestly, you just hard mull for it.
Sure.
Like you're just looking like you're only caring about finding this card because all the calamities are guaranteed.
Yeah, the calamities are guaranteed. Also, like it's just writing it in general gives you the 2 like Dragontree markers, so it doesn't have to be from hand.
Oh, does it not?
No, it just says if you wrote a card.
Oh my bad. So yeah, you always get. Never mind. You always get the Dragontree.
Yeah, like the Dragontree is always guaranteed.
Okay, sorry, my apologies.
I'm surprised they didn't have the starter be like the backside, like the thing with Gize and Neon Gize, or double-sided. What? This thing is so stupid. I can't. Absolutely. I can't, dude.
Also, when we were talking about the heals in this set, I predicted that this would be a grade 4 because of the like grade effect, right? I was half right.
No, you weren't even half right. That's the thing. You were under.
You're right.
Yeah, you were under half right.
I am 2/5 correct.
That's unfortunate. Who could? So grade 10 is like so comically high that no one would have guessed this. Like the highest we've had grade 4s in the past. We've had a lot of them.
We've had grade 5s in the past, even.
Sure, but grade 10, come on.
No, not even.
They just really did not want you to ride this card normally.
Fair. Because you know how like Zeus and Yu-Gi-Oh! It's supposed to have like a condition where you can like never like hard make it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But people still do because fuck you.
It's Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah. And sometimes you just end up with 2 level 12 lights or whatever the hell you need.
Mm-hmm. Da magician and da girl with like DNA transplant or whatever.
Yeah, it's like hard making Cyber Dragon Infinity or something, right? Like you just do it to say you did it.
Yeah.
Anyway, to a concert in Genesis, give Valkyrion 10 drive checks.
Anyway, this card definitely exists. I actually like it a lot. I think it's funny. But I don't think it's good.
Yeah, I think it's
terrible. That's fair.
Look, it's a dumb card.
Yeah, you're probably more likely to win just swinging for like big number and a crit every turn and hoping your opponent runs out of PGs.
One downside to this deck is you can't take the overtrigger on damage to save yourself.
Yes, that is true. And you're playing with 15 triggers.
Also true.
And it's also another indication that Bouchard is not walking away from the whole OT.
You can still ban the overtrigger. Just say that you can only play it in the ride deck.
All right.
That's true.
There you go, then. All right. I'm sick of this thing. Let's go to the double R's.
How do you hate it?
Yeah, this card is great. And it'll probably be really cheap. So because of the dumb gimmick, it's just...
No. Yeah, well... Oh, yeah, I guess you only have, like... Oh, so I guess that's why they gave each nation a Dragontree card. So when you pick your nation, you can just play the Dragontree card that's associated.
Yeah, it's really weird that you have to like build this thing around the grade 1 you choose.
Well, I think it's going to be more building around the overtrigger, and then the grade 1 is just going to be like,
Yeah,
some consideration to be taken.
Like, it would be cool if the grade 1 could be called regardless of your Vanguard's grade.
Mm-hmm.
Like the specific Dragontree grade 1. so that you could in fact play it while you're sitting on a grade 0. Yeah.
Yes.
It might be cool.
Anyways, Eugene support. Hunting
Woo!
Artillery of Dust Storm, Furus. So it's grade 3. When it's placed on rearguard circle, if your Vanguard is Eugene, counterblast 1, discard a card. Search your deck for 1 grade 3 normal order that isn't the Regalis piece. They're gonna have to start putting that on cards now.
Yep.
Reveal it, put it in your hand. Auto rearguard circle, once per turn. When your opponent's rearguard is retired by card ability during your main phase, stand it and it gets boost. Soul Blast 1, stand it and it gets boost.
That's cool that you can search Best Harvest off of this.
I mean, this card is like fine. You know, Eugene's whole thing about what's it called? Resting things for his effect means that you can like make use of the fact that you're soul charging 6 million cards a turn.
Mhm.
You know, the big booster. It searches the Dragon Empire order for Eugene. That's a grade 3, and I don't remember what it's called, but I think it was good.
Best Harvest, which is like when you after you play it, every time you kill something, draw 1. So you go do this, discard something, get Best Harvest, play it, rest it for Eugene, you draw 1. Soul Blast, he pops himself back up, which also you can then do on subsequent turns for the 13k boost. It's pretty solid, it looks like.
Also sounds like a great way to deck yourself out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of those things where like if you're doing that, you better be like you better kill pretty quick.
Yeah. Like pretty good Eugene support.
Yes. Good.
Eugene is just like slowly becoming a moderately competent deck. Oh man, I have to go talk about more equipped dragons.
Sure do.
So this is a grade 2 10k. When it's placed on rearguard circle, if your Vanguard has Nirvana in his name, counterblast 1, put a Virina from drop to the bottom of your deck, look at your top 5, choose a Virina from among them and reveal it, add it to your hand. If you did not reveal, countercharge.
Okay.
Sure.
At least it refunds itself.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. And like putting the Virina back into the deck from drop zone, probably not that bad. Like if you were trying to build around the original Nirvana, it is probably a thing because like you have the grade 1 that can fish cards back. But if you're building around Jiva like Bushiroad wants you to, you don't have a way to recycle your Virina, so this is fine. I don't know where you find space for this. I barely have room for all of the cards crossover needs normally.
I like how they teased us by going, like you see countercharge and you go, countercharge in overdress, and they're like, you got counterblast for it first. Fuck.
It'd be like that.
It's just like Retsuji or whatever the grade 1 that like gets a crossover dress or gets an overdress from drop is, but like worse because that one just countercharges if you're on grade 4. That one actually refunds itself no matter what.
Yeah.
And then we have Desolate Spark Dragon. I really don't have much else to say about this equipped dragon.
Fair enough.
When it attacks a Vanguard, if you Persona Road, this will be a trend with all of the double Rs for this set, by the way. Soul Blast 1, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it, it gets 5k, and then your opponent chooses 3 normal units from their drop zone and binds it.
If you Persona Road is active, even if you activate Persona Ride except on normal, right? So like if you use the cup, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All
right.
So this is just being very, very, very clear that yes, activating Persona Ride for the cup does work for all Persona Ride things.
Cool. This is kind of a whatever thing.
Yeah.
Narukami.
It's interesting. Like there are some decks that get completely screwed over by like forcing them to bind 3, but it is also very slow because you have to Persona Ride.
It's another Bob Sagra card.
Is it?
Break seal.
Oh. No, my statement still stands. Is it? If your Vanguard has an arm, you can put it into Soul. Choose either the sword or the gun, and reduce the cost of its auto ability by counterblast. Oh, it doesn't even reduce both. It's only one of them. This card fucking sucks.
Do you even have space for grade 1s for this kind of bullshit?
No. Like, you just play, like, you need Trick Moons. You're playing Samadhi, which can cycle arms from the drop zone, and then you're playing the grade 1 that searches out Trick Moon.
Absolutely incredible.
Is like a card that you lose a card to reduce a cost is no. Like it's different if you get a counter charge or something, like put this into your soul at the end of the turn, counter charge, whatever. That's worth it. This is just no.
Also, who the hell is playing the sword or the gun?
It's what they want you to do. Or
playing
whatever.
the gun is actually a mistake.
Aw,
I think
buddy.
the one time Mireille used it in the anime, she lost.
There you go.
Like, do not play the gun, but also don't play the sword. Like,
Play
these
the
two
shield
cards
and whatever
are
the other one is, the spear.
like, yeah, these two cards are like anti-synergy with Bob Sagra, because all of your cards like gain power when you have 2 arms cards, and both of these retire themselves.
Well,
Rip. They really it like when it first came out, it like would eke out a top every now and again, and then
Like, Bob Sagra is pretty like this is just an actual waste of a card. Like, buffing up 2 terrible arms cards that do not synergize with their own deck that nobody played. Like, you play the sword because you can search it out if you already opened the shield. That is the only reason people have a copy of it.
incredible.
rip. Let's see. Now we're on Dark States again.
All right.
Mhm.
So in this, the first card is Kit's Peak Griffin. So when this unit is placed on rear, if you have a Vanguard with Almagestar in its card name, choose 2 trigger units rear drop and put them into your soul.
Okay.
Sure. And then on rear guard or guard circle, if you have a critical trigger in your bind zone, this unit gets power plus 5,000 and shield plus 5,000. This card's quite good.
Yeah. Pretty that helps you do the thing. So
Yeah, you can guard with crits early, guaranteed to put them into your soul, and then basically just be like, oh, well, now I have either a 15k beater or a 10k interceptor. I mean, it's really hard to not want a 10k interceptor, honestly.
yeah, or even just calling it from hand, like if you draw it later.
Yeah.
That's
This card's fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think if you're playing that girl, you're definitely playing this card for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the next card is Clean Sweep Dragon. So this is an act on rear if you persona road. So it's a grade 2. Act on rear if you persona road this turn, you can counterblast 1. Choose a total of up to 3 of you and your opponent's rear guards, and you and your opponent shove them into your respective souls. And then this unit gets power plus 5,000 till end of turn for each card chosen with this effect.
So they basically just printed a card that says remove 3 from your opponent, right?
yeah.
Yep.
All right, plus 15 to this guy, and
Who decided that this was a good idea? It should at least be mutual, right?
I feel like you should have to pick at least one of yours,
Yeah.
but no. This card seems nuts, right?
It's okay. So the effect is good, but having it be tied to Persona Ride hurts it somewhat.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Sure. But like, I think like it is power. Like, you want to be Persona riding anyways, and I think this one in particular is powerful enough.
Mm-hmm. I think so like, for example, in something like Luthier, where you have a lot of tech spaces, you could probably fit this in. You call it one of the turns and then just keep it the rest of the game, and then every once in a while, like, threaten your opponent with a board wipe. And
Right.
Depending what you're playing against, that can be utterly devastating. So I think you'd be using this less for the power and more for the like, all right,
Oh, absolutely.
coming
Like,
for your ass.
No, for sure.
Counterblast 1 plus 3 is like kind of insane.
Not bad. I think this was a well-balanced card.
I'm not entirely sure about that, but okay.
Well, just because you have a max of 3 times in the game you can activate, or 4, I guess, with a cup, but
at least Chronojet can't use it.
That's true.
All right. So, in case you didn't remember, a long time ago they released a card called Barra Magnus. It has support. So it has a grade 2 in this set. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if you have a Vanguard with Barra Magnus in its card name, you can put another rearguard into Soul, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and put it into Soul. And if they could not, it gets power plus 10,000.
Okay.
Which is already what you're going to do with Barrow anyway.
Yeah, Barrow doesn't target. What's the point here?
I guess you get 10k on the earlier attack. But like putting your opponent's rearguard in Soul, why does it matter? Like you're going to do that anyway, probably.
Yeah. Especially because like Barrow Magnus has gotten way faster. I think you can pretty consistently get to like 15 early now.
Yeah,
pretty much.
This seems bad. Or it seems to do nothing probably a lot of the time.
Yeah, probably.
You know what? Good for them. And then the last card we have is Diabolos Knuckler Jamil. Grade 2 as well. So we have a bunch of grade 2s. So the first effect is a continuous on rearguard or guard circle. If you are in final burst, this unit gets power plus 10,000 and shield plus 5,000. So remember final burst from Purple Bruce lasts till end of opponent's turn. So this becomes a 10k interceptor in final burst, which is quite nice. It also gets a 20k beater, which is, it being 20k is also active on opponent's turn. So it's a very difficult to bully rearguard as well, in addition to be a 10k interceptor. And then it has an auto when it's placed on rear. If your Vanguard is Purple Bruce, you can counterblast 1, soul charge 1, choose 1 grade 3 or less normal unit with Diabolison's card name from your soul, and call it to an open rear.
Not bad.
Yeah, those cards are pretty good.
That's actually pretty good. Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's good that. Sorry, what?
It does a lot.
Yeah. Plus, that first effect, it being continuous, again means if you have it in hand, you can guard it as a 10k shield.
Yes.
I know I keep going back to that, but like this game is really hard.
They desperately need to just print cards with that gain shield on them for like no reason.
Damn, it's like I've been saying this the entirety of this format, or really since D started.
Yeah.
But you know what do I know? Clearly nothing.
Mm-hmm. All right. I gotta put that on the second bingo card that I end up making, whenever that is.
Please give more things 5k shield for no reason.
All
right. Silverman, your turn.
Yeah. Halton Vogel. So this is a grade 3. When it's placed on rearguard circle, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, search your deck or drop zone for a grade 3 set order. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and if you search your deck, shuffle. And when the set order is put into your order zone, not just when it's played, it gets 5k.
Okay.
I think you need this in Avantgardia because you need to have the grade 3 order, but like, if you can afford the Counterblast Soul Blast, which play Bulbul Mine for that, this does just get you a grade 3 order like all the time. So if you discarded one early or you just did not draw into an important grade 3 order, like this just gets it for you, and then you can just put down that order and it becomes an 18k beater. I think this card is fine.
Like your mileage may vary, but yes. Also, Bulbul Mine is getting reprinted, so
yeah. The ratios are terrible, but they're reprinting it.
Hey,
yeah, the ratios are real bad.
I will take a reprint where I can get a reprint.
No. I mean, I think like this is pretty inexcusably bad.
How bad are we talking?
The set is like, yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. Like they did the same thing as like they did the same thing as like the effect triggers in set 7. They increased the ratios in English apparently, but like the Japanese version only got like 1 per box.
Yeah, the ratios are real bad.
But yeah, I think the reprints for these were like very low. You get like 1.
A small aside, I think the it combined with the kind of the size and pull and what's going to be the pull rates in the VM premium set is also really terrible. In the fact that the set's like over 350 cards with 3 card packs.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
it makes the set like just not do its job.
A little scary. We'll cover that in.
Yeah. I just wanted to give like a small aside, which is that's kind of worrying to me.
Yeah,
definitely.
As far as like them not taking reprints seriously when we have cards that are, you know,
$30,
fairly
$40.
in D. It's supposed to be the cheaper format, and Youthberg is like $700.
Yes. And you're going to reprint cards as like 1 per box, or not even 1 per box, 1 per like case, I think.
It's so bad. Like even if you got like a place at a case, that's still horrible. So either way, my bad on that aside. Just
not your fault.
Something I've been talking about today.
Righteous anger. Yeah.
Anyway, Enlightened Age Dragon. So this is the grade 2 Persona ride card for Brantgate. Soul Blast 1, discard a card. It gets 5k. Choose a set order from drop and put it into your hand. Choose a set order from your drop with a different name as the one you put into your hand and put it into your hand.
Okay, so it's that +1. Also, Enlightened Age Dragon. I unironically heard one of my coworkers use the phrase "Age Dragon" today. She comes in and she goes like, "You like to someone else like you put too much lotion on your face. You fighting the Age Dragon, sister?" I was like, "What?
No one says that. This story is made up."
I swear to God, that's real. I was like,
Alex, that didn't happen for 500, Alex.
Oh my God. It was one of those things where I like dropped what I was doing and turned around. I was like, was that a real thing you just said?
Alex making shit up.
I swear to God, this is real. Yeah, so here's Brantgate's, you know, if you're Persona ridden, do this thing.
Yeah. Get 2 set orders from your drop. 2 different set orders from your drop.
You know, not bad. Doesn't even cost a counterblast? All right.
Nope, just a Soul Blast and a discard.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like what decks would reasonably have that many set orders in the drop. I guess like if you Soul Blast the Operation cards or like in EVA, you like cycle it.
I guess Brantgate players comment below which deck does this work best with.
And I guess this is just like generally if your like set orders are gone. Oh, meteors! Like you have this. You have to drop meteors.
Both meteors.
So, wow! I can't believe they made a card for an archetype that like doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So, it's like Enigmans.
Sure. Oh, right. This archetype exists. I forgot about this.
This does kind of look. This does kind of look like an Enigman suit, like if they wore something over.
No, like
they look like.
Legitimately, I forgot B heroes existed.
Yeah,
I was like,
100%.
I was taking stock of the decks, like, oh, I have like almost every Brantgate archetype except Orphist, and then I looked back, like, wait, no, this exists.
What bothers me about this is they named them B heroes just to distinguish them from the old heroes for unknown reasons.
To be dicks.
And they had to errata them too. Like all of them are just printed as galactic heroes in English currently.
Yeah, like who cares? You know what I mean?
They got to avoid that synergy. It's like the opposite of an 80s meeting room.
Is it worth caring about?
No. So what is this thing?
Oh yeah. So when it's discarded by your effects of the base in the order zone, you can counterblast one, call it a rear guard. Choose a card with B hero and its name from drop and put it in your base. During your turn, if you have 2 or more bases, it gets 10k. I legitimately do not remember what the hell the base does.
Comment section, please help us.
You shove extra units on it, if I recall correctly. I don't remember anything about this archetype.
I think they called themselves out of the base or something.
Yeah,
I can't
remember.
Okay, so one of the base effects has to discard. So I guess when you discard it for that effect, it calls itself.
Okay.
I'm not going to pretend this archetype is real. I'm tired of pretending already.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to one that does exist.
All right.
Gravidia Claxton. It is a grade 1 8K. When it boosts a Vanguard with Nordlinger in its name, counterblast 1 and discard a card from hand. Choose one of your Vanguards, and until end of that battle, it gets continuous Vanguard Circle. If no triggered units were put into your trigger zone, it gets Drive +1.
You know what? Sure.
If a trigger is revealed before the second drive check, the third check cannot be performed.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I feel like this is whatever, but you
Yeah,
can do it.
it sure does exist.
Hell of a gamble.
Yeah. I'm just looking at like the Stoicheia cards coming up, and I just remembered one of the funny ones.
All right. So decisive heavenly axe Delibird.
Delibear got it.
Delibird.
Delibird, the Pokemon.
Delibird.
I went to a deli the other day.
Iron Bundle. What?
I went to a deli the other day and had some incredible corned beef.
Yeah.
Nice.
Delis are freaking great. I love them.
Yeah. So I got these deli twin sandwiches. It's basically a corned beef sandwich, but also a pastrami sandwich on these onion rolls.
Oh my god, dude.
Quite good.
So grade 3, 13K. Auto on rear when this unit's attack or the attack it boosted hits a Vanguard. Look at the top 7, choose up to 1 Bastion, put it into your hand and shuffle. If you reveal the card and this unit is in the back row, retire it. So go looking for that Persona ride or that grade 4, which fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Boring
Whatever.
card. It does its job, I guess.
Boring card that's a double R. That does not feel like a double R at all.
Gloria, I think that one actually does feel like a double R. It's just like, eh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's Glorious Storm Dragon, which is a 10K grade 2. Act on rear once per turn. If you Persona Road this turn, here we go. Counterblast 1, your opponent puts all of their rear guards in the same column as this unit on the bottom of their deck, and it gets plus 5K till end of turn.
It's like not horrendous, but definitely a little bizarre.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the Persona rides are like, why do I care about these rear guards?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, like, I don't know. It seems not worth it to play this card.
No, it doesn't.
But it like the effect is fine. It's just like, but why?
Yeah.
If this card got more power, it might be more interesting too.
I mean, this kind of feels like the shittier version of Clean Sweep.
It absolutely is.
It absolutely
it gets less power, one less card sniped.
Yeah, I don't really understand the difference there. But you know what? I'm not going to think about it too much.
I guess because it puts it in the opponent's soul, which they can then use maybe.
It gives them a resource. He gives a shit.
Yeah. That's the best guess I can muster. Resentment Dragon, grade 2, 10K. When placed on rear by a card's ability, Soul Blast 2, Countercharge 1, and this unit gets plus 5K till end of turn. Love this thing.
And it doesn't lose any power for that. That's good.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Huh.
It does feel like they just ran out of archetypes, though.
That's fine. I'm cool with this being generic.
You're not playing this in Bastion, but good for every other Keter archetype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny that they're like, we'll support like Bar of Magnus, Bob Sagra, and then they get Eugene, and then they get to Keter Sanctuary. Like, wait, does anything besides Bastion and Youthburg exist? No? Okay.
Yeah. They just kind of made it generic, which is, again, fine by me. You can run this in any of the Paladins, Genesis, whatever. Like, this is great.
Yeah. Actually, though, I feel like, aside from Hexa Orb, which is not real, Keter actually does not have a lot of D ride lines that aren't encounters.
You're right. What are you gonna do, Graham Grace?
I mean, you can play it.
You can.
Actually, I don't want to.
No, I don't think you do.
All right, what else we got?
Last one for Cater is Knight of Vanquish Bow's Flit.
They just made that up.
Yeah, that was too many consonants in a row. Back row center rear guard. When your Vanguard is placed by a Revoldress ability, stand this unit gets power plus 10.
15k boost. But that's not worth running over just like the grade 1 that puts itself to soul and gives it a drive, right?
No, definitely not.
That one doesn't have to be back row center, but I think you just want it to be anyways, since you're going to be eating it.
Yeah, because usually it's those grade ones that, like, when you discard them for something, they get called in the back. You usually put them in the corners.
Right.
And then I use them with the pineapple cat to then choose and be like, no grade ones, and then they're like, fuck, and they die. So, all right, let's wrap this puppy up. Sylvan Horn Beast Winsome. Was this the one you were thinking of?
Yes.
Oh God, I forgot about this. I remember when it first got revealed, I laughed my ass off too.
Anyways, this episode is now banned in China.
Yep. Okay. So grade 3, 13K copyright infringement, and continuous in deck and hand. If you have a grade 2 or greater Vanguard with Sylvan Horn Beast in its card name, different from this card, it gets grade -1. So you can, I guess, normal call it, and then continuous on rear. If you have a Vanguard with Magnolia in its card name was placed this turn, it gets plus 10K. So
actually not horrendous.
No, it's not at all. It's like a one of maybe, but
it's a big bear.
You should play the one of for the memes.
It's a cocaine bear in theaters February, whenever the hell that is. It's fine. I just, like you said, it's for the memes. Tideline Dragon, grade 2. Act on rare. If you persona road this turn, Soul Blast, choose one of your units. That unit and this unit get plus 10K. So no plussing. But big numbers.
You know, that's fine.
Yeah. Sure.
It actually doesn't seem that bad for Magnolia.
No, not at all.
Because the 10K goes a lot further there than it would in a lot of other decks.
I imagine Maelstrom would have a decent time with this too.
Maybe? You have to find space for it.
Just find space. Easy.
Yeah. Let's see.
I don't think the card's bad.
Yeah. I think that Maelstrom, you can probably play this as like one of, because if it ends up in the drop zone, you just bring it back with Judgment.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. And then Ranran Orangin, Outer Orange. Grade 2, 10K. When it's placed on rear, call a plant token. And then on front row rear at the beginning of your battle phase, if you have a Vanguard with Grand Fiat, call another plant token.
This is fine.
Yeah.
It makes 2 tokens.
Yep. Yeah. It also, if it lives a turn, making another token is actually quite nice. Makes your opponent probably want to slightly get rid of it. But it's not bad. 2 tokens for literally nothing.
Yep.
I might actually run this in Big Belly, depending.
Beyond Place is free, so you're always going to get the 1 guaranteed. And as long as you have ways to cycle from the drop zone, which Stoicheia does, like this card seems like something you can just abuse over and over again.
Sure. Tier 9 Ariante, so grade 1, 8K. If you have a Vanguard with Flagbird, Counterblast 1, discard a card. Choose a grade 3 or less from your drop, call it to rare, it gets plus 5K. Fucking fantastic.
I wonder which grade 3 we're calling. It could be anything.
At least it's for them. It's not by accident.
Yeah. But also, like, we already Diantha already kind of does this, right?
I think so.
Well, yeah, this is, I guess, budget Diantha, but also this one does require you to discard a card, so I think Diantha is better.
Yeah.
Weird.
So that was all the high rarity stuff. Is there any other things we want to point out?
I've already read all of my low rarity stuff with the tree.
Yeah.
Because you can't really not talk about everything at once.
Right.
There's the pumpkin.
Oh, the pumpkin is great. Hold on. Talk about the pumpkin.
Wait, where was it again? It was
it is a rare Farmin pumpkin.
Oh, okay.
This is quite possibly the best card in the set.
Let's see. I got in an
argument.
There it is.
Like 2 more.
I found it. I got in an argument with Miles of Nexus Court because I was like, this looks like the episode of Over the Garden Wall. He's like, no, it doesn't. That was it.
All right. First of all, can we just appreciate once it loads the art of this pumpkin?
Yeah.
This is quite possibly the cutest card
we've
had in a long time. This is actually I'm the number 1 stand for this card.
Grade 1 8K once per turn. If you have a Vanguard with Grand Fiat, Soul Blast, call a plant token. If your Vanguard's great third raider, call 2 instead of 1.
Don't care what this card does.
He's got little birds
Look at
hanging
him.
out with him.
Just fucking look at him.
So adorable.
This is my favorite card of the set.
Me too.
Not close.
How can you not?
And if you're asking who won the set, it's Farm and Pumpkin.
Yeah. not the Nation of Stoichea, Farm and Pumpkin.
Just Farm and Pumpkin.
Yeah. Yep. Who do you think won? Was it Winnie the Pooh? Leave a comment below.
God, this card's incredible.
Oh my god, this entire set was memes. Yeah, I think overall the set was just kind of a disappointment.
Like coming out, I would expect Vehemence Bruce to do something, although week 1 it does not seem to have shown up. I think Brantgate probably. It's hard to judge from just week 1, but I think Frey Heights does just so much for the product deck to make it actually viable.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be difficult to compete with a lot of the other decks running around.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to see if somebody figures out what people figure out the Dragontree stuff. I'm going to keep my eye out. I just think it's very funny.
Yeah, and theoretically cheap.
Bonus points if you play Farm and Pumpkin.
in the Brandgate stuff. Leave a like, leave a comment. Patreon.com/Nexus at Night helps the show out. You get a bonus show every week with the 3 of us and sometimes a guest. We got merch, we got playmats. Where can they find the rest of us?
You can find me on Twitter at Wiggums 2Gs2Zs.
You can find me at Plasma Eclipse.
Also, thanks to $10 patrons Darren, Cole, Josh, Jeremy, GR, and Ali. And then you can find me at Atlas Novak on Twitter, Instagram, or now TikTok, which is mostly just me doing comedy sketches. And then you can also find my other podcast at Generation Dan on Twitter, Generation_Dan on Instagram. That's about generational differences. So thanks everybody for watching. And until next time, I was Atlas.
I'm Farm and Pumpkin.
I'm Root Beer.
And have a good night, everybody.